Hey there everyone, Gay here, and welcome to this top 10. So I've already done a few countdowns on this channel, but I've never really done one with commentary. I also did one with Mario Kart, where I did my top 15 favorite tracks, but I didn't really give the reason for each of the tracks, so I might redo that list at some point. So basically, this is the top 10 worst tracks, so I'm going to go through my top 10, of course, least favorite tracks and explain why I hate them all. So don't forget that this is my opinion. Of course, there's going to be some tracks that you guys might disagree with me for even having on this list. So yeah, without further ado, let's go. At number 10, I have Rainbow Road. So for me personally, this doesn't really feel like a Mario Kart Rainbow Road track. The space station part feels out of place. I know it has to do with space, but it doesn't really it doesn't have anything to do with like the Rainbow Road part of the track. Like, it doesn't feel like it should belong on a Rainbow Road. The ending part isn't that good either. It's just like a bunch of twisty and turns, and that's about like as complicated as the anti-gravity gets. Like, they could have done a lot more with the anti-gravity, I feel, because, you know, they're in space. They could have at least put like tons more of crazy stuff, and I feel like they had a missed opportunity. They could have done a lot more, in my opinion. At number 9, I have Toad's Turnpike. So it's not that this is necessarily a bad track, but at the same time it kind of is. The problem I have is the cars and the trucks are like the part that makes up and breaks the track as well. You know, the trucks like are easily avoidable, but sometimes you really need to, you know, go out of your way to avoid getting hit by the trucks. And it's just kind of unnecessary at times, you know. Sometimes when you're drifting near the guardrail or whatever it's called, I don't exactly know, the trucks will just be there and you'll accidentally hit them, and it's just not really fun to deal with. And I feel like taking the trucks or cars out of the track would make it completely worse as well. Like, it would be completely bland in my opinion if they actually did do that. But I know it's just like a theoretical, but it's just like a track overall in my opinion. At number 8, I have Mount Royo. So I feel like I'll get a lot of hate for even including this on my list, but believe me, if I made this list a while ago, it would have been in the top 3, honestly. Like, I get that the track looks beautiful, and I get that there's some parts to it that seem fun to most people, but in my opinion, it's like an awkward track to play on. So pretty much, in my opinion, the like ice section is good, and the first lap, the anti-gravity section, which I didn't use the glider part. Like, the anti-gravity to the glider part is kind of awkward because you're kind of forced to go in a, you know, downward spiral direction, you know, which you're supposed to. Like, the game intends like you to do that, but it just feels like you can't control it that much. The waterfall part is in my opinion, because it feels like you sometimes need to force yourself to like get a boost panel, or else like you won't like get speed at all, and the waterfall will kind of push you down a bit, which is kind of honestly annoying. And my least favorite part about the track is like the tree part. Like, and this is like one of my least favorite parts about the game, or this track in general. Like, if you're at a tree, all your momentum is lost, and sometimes, like, if you're playing on 200cc, the trees will completely bump you off course, and you'll lose, like, your direction, and sometimes even placements. Like, typically if you're playing online. Like, my third shows me playing offline, which doesn't really affect me that much, but it's really annoying. And the skiing part, at the end, you know, isn't really that fun as well. You know, you're just going downhill, and that's pretty much it, I guess. It isn't really like a fun track, but it isn't, you know, like a completely like really bad track, but it's like in the middle, more on the bad side for me. At number 7, I have Donut Plains 3. So the name for this map makes sense. Like, they call it Donut Plains because they get it's like plain and it's boring. Like, they're kind of self-aware with this. I get it's from the NES, but you know, it doesn't mean it doesn't get to be bad. Like in my opinion, you know, there isn't many enemies except for the Monty Moles, but even then they kind of help you out, which I get. You know, they create like dirt piles so you can trick off them, but that's like the only really fun part of the track. You know, there's lots of twists and turns. Not really fun on 200cc, but even on 150cc, it's kind of like, this feels like overdone and I don't like it at all. It's not a fun track. And the water section is, you know, kind of useless. You're really only in the water for like 1 or 2 seconds at a time per lap. Unless you somehow get knocked off, or in my case, shocked off of the bridge in like the first part of the water. But yeah, that's pretty much it. At number 6, I have Wario Stadium. So pretty much my thoughts on this track is it's just like the original from the DS. Most of it is okay at bare minimum, but parts towards the end and kind of in the middle are like terrible. The anti-gravity part isn't that interesting. It's kind of just like, you know, you're there. I guess you're sideways now. The fireballs, so like pretty much a good obstacle in my opinion. I do get hit by them occasionally, but not really that much. You know, they're not that hard to dodge. And the anti-gravity to like the normal part is kind of an awkward transition in my opinion. It's like, wow, you're sideways, but now you're not sideways. It's like, I don't like it. And the thing that honestly breaks it for me is like the water part. You know, you have those 2 trick ramps that will mess you up in a way, because there's like a mud pile at the last turn, and if you're like really out of control, which is in a water section kind of possible, it definitely is possible, you run into the mud and ruin all your momentum, and it's kind of like a bad part of the stage, to be honest. But yeah. At number 5, I have Water Park. So everything about this stage, or track I mean, is kind of bland. You know, the first part feels slow. The big loop is just like a big paraslide moment, like just paraslide through, that's all you need to do, that's basically it. Like, and the underwater part is like generally boring. Underwater parts are not fun at all in this game, as you can probably tell from like my standards. But the glider section is probably the funnest part of the game. Gliders in this game are bad. I hate glider sections. Even from Mario Kart 7 I feel they were bad, but you know, having like my favorite part from the stage being a glider section really kind of shows you how like overall bad this track is. It isn't really that fun to play on. Hence why it's in the Mushroom Cup. You know, it's one of the first tracks they made, honestly. At number 4, I have Moo Moo Meadows. So this is kind of the same as the Wii version, only there's a glider section, and once again, just like for Water Park, the glider section is kind of the funnest part of the stage, and the only like kind of change Nintendo added on to the stage. The sad part is, the glider part doesn't really matter because the normal route kind of is quicker than the glider section, I've heard. I don't exactly know that for sure, but the glider section is pretty much useless. I don't know if it's that way on 200cc, but it definitely is for 150cc. Pretty much it's the same as the Wii version, which I don't know if I already said, but it is a much of an accomplishment either way. Since the Wii version was bland all around, you know, it was from the Mushroom Cup from Mario Kart Wii, so it can't really like be that all good, but that's pretty much it. And now we're in the top 3. At 3, I have Toad Harbor. So this track is kind of interesting in its own way. As you can see, I'm showing the slow path on the left and the faster path on the right. So in my opinion, the fun routes are the slow path, and the burn route is actually the faster path because, you know, why not? To do good on the stage, you need to take the slower, not the slower path, the less fun path, and it just doesn't feel fun to me at all. It's like, it generally doesn't feel like a fun track to play on regardless of the fun routes, because let's be honest, it isn't really anything fun about this track overall. But yeah, that's just my opinion. But yeah, that's it. At number 2, I have Mario Circuit. So this track is the definition of annoying as hell, in my opinion. I get that Mario Kart 8's thing is anti-gravity, but when at least 90% of the track is anti-gravity, it gets old after a while. Like 10 minutes into using anti-gravity, and it kind of is annoying, you know? Like, come on, we all like got sick of anti-gravity like at some point. But yeah, the anti-gravity mechanics are like kind of stale at this point, you know, after like more than a year with the game, and even like after a few years with the original game. Like, it just doesn't feel fun after a while, in my opinion. And I don't know, it just feels weird to control, you know, most of the track, as I said, is like anti-gravity. And at number 1, I have Excitebike Arena. So God, this track is unironically awful, in my opinion. This is another track I feel will get kind of hate for having it on this list, especially at this position. But let's be honest, this track is a kind of huge rectangle. Only the corners are like, you know, rounds. That's about it. You can basically like press the A button on the straightaway and occasionally press the trick button, because you kind of need to, and you'll still like be in a good position. Like, it's not that easy online, since like, you know, I'm playing it offline on this footage, but even then online, that's all you need to do, like, just to stay with the pack, you know? You know, the obstacles the stage has to offer is like the off-road if you get knocked off somehow, which I doubt will happen. And the other thing is the oil slicks or the mud piles. I don't know exactly what they are. They kind of look like the same, but like, that's about it, and they don't really mess you up that much. You can get like a mushroom and go over them easily, and that's about it. Like, there's 7 different versions of the stage, and if I'm being honest, I didn't really know that until a year after Mario Kart 8 Deluxe was like released. Like, I needed to be told that there was 7 different versions, because all the versions feel the same. Like, I didn't notice anything, and I really still don't, because I don't really pay attention that much. Because anytime I really think of the stage to play on it, I just think of how much it sucks and how much like fun it isn't. Like, oh my god, that was such an awkward way to say it, but it just isn't a fun track. That's all you need to say about the thing. It just was always like a top 5 least favorite track of mine, and it isn't fun at all. I'm sure people will agree with me. And that's about it. I hope you all enjoyed. This is like something I kind of wanted to do for a while, and I'm hoping I will get better at. You know, this video was kind of overall, you know, just like the tracks. But yeah, if there's anything I need to work on, just tell me, because I'm kind of just like not reading any of this from a, you know, script, because I do better without scripts, and I just like to, you know, speak from my mind, because commentating something and reading out loud isn't really my thing. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Also, I have a channel with my friend Conwub, aka Connor, that we play games on. So yeah, if you want to check that out, subscribe, do that, and follow us on Twitter. And follow me on Twitter, I guess, as well. And also subscribe if you're new. Basically, subscribe and follow both of those accounts in the description, in here as well. That's gonna do it. Bye!